Well. Match has just finished. Manchester United 3, Arsenal 2. I mean, first of all, just got to say we've just witnessed an absolute classic there. A 5 goal thriller. You talk about end to end. I don't think you can get much more end to end than that. They'd win the ball back, get straight on pace. Like I said in my preview video, using Jadon Sancho, their attacker's pace, really carrying that ball forward. We won, ball back. Weren't quite as effective as them on the counter, I didn't think. We weren't quite as fast. We're trying to slow it down a little bit. I think we might have got something more from the game if we did maybe try and be on that front foot a little bit more instead of trying to hold it up. But it's finished now. It is a loss. So I'm just going to run through a little recap, discuss some of the main talking points from the game, obviously. There were a fair few, and if you haven't seen, we'll get into that Smith Rowe potential controversy, but I think it's just United fans, crying about stuff that really they've got no say over. So, off the bat, before we get into any events from the game, still no Kieran Tierney. What has this man done to Mikel Arteta? He's been fit for weeks now, still can't get a sniff in first team. Tavares had an absolute stinker against Liverpool. Then next game against Newcastle, he had 4 or 5 shots which just went into Rowe's head. He lost possessions and overhit at least 3 crosses just off the top of my head. That's from last game, and he's still getting in the lineup ahead of Tierney. I just don't know what's happening. I mean, Tavares, as good as he has looked going forward, I think Tierney's better getting forward. And the end product from Tavares is most of the time, I think, poor. Either overhits a pass, cross, and it just goes out for a goal kick, or most of the time fucking throwing, or it just goes straight out for a goal kick. I don't think he's got that kind of end product. When we've got Kieran Tierney, arguably one of the players of the season last season, just sitting on a bench, I think it's a disservice. I think Tierney needs to get back in this squad, even if it's just for one game. He didn't do brilliantly. At least then he's had his run out. He's had a chance at least. Come on, man. But anyway, we'll leave that. That's a complete other topic and chat in itself. So we'll leave that for what it is. But starting off with this game, things I thought actually started pretty well. Obviously, recent months we have been starting, on the front foot, really attacking him. Besides from Newcastle, but we'll call that a blip, a little anomaly. But we did the same thing again. I mean, I think it was second or third minute in. We already had 2 corners. Second one, Rashford had to clear off just in front of the line after a Ben White header. So we really were on the front foot for that first 5 or so minutes. Unfortunately, they did counter us once with Jadon Sancho, who, not going to lie, when I saw him breaking through, I started seeing flashbacks of that Chelsea goal, the goal of the night. I thought, oh shit, here we go. But thankfully, we handled it, got it cleared, it were all good. So now we've got to talk about this controversy, man. So, swinging a ball from corner, De Gea somehow, I don't know if he collided with Fred or if he just stood in it funny. It looked like there might have been a bit of a collision with Fred. But then he just goes down. Ref didn't blow his whistle. It was just normal play. It's what you learn in primary, innit? Play till whistle. You don't decide when a game's finished or if it's going to get stopped. The ref does. So Smith Rowe, and I think a lot of people are actually discrediting Smith Rowe here. The ref's in the way when it comes to him. The ref jumps out of the way last minute. He catches it clean as you like. Just rifles into a ball corner on volley from outside edge of box. I mean, it is an absolute beauty. You'll not see a cleaner hit volley. I'd say for a good couple of months it was stunning. Then obviously, it did go to VAR. Man United fans and players pleading that, De Gea is injured. And I must admit, right, it's one of them ones where if it's your team who scores it, you're saying, well, you've got to play till whistle, ref didn't stop game, you play on. And it's one of them where if it's scored against you, then you say, keeper's down injured, ref should have stopped the play. So it's one of them, I think you have to just look at it from a bigger picture. It should stand every day of the week. You play till whistle, it's one of them things. But, it's one of them, but no fans are ever going to agree on that one. Just because of the nature of the way the game is, you know what I mean? It's always going to divide opinion, that one. But other than that, I thought, it looked like, we've got an early goal, we might be able to, stun them a little bit. they were starting to play pretty free flowing, quite attacking. So I reckon that would have knocked them a peg back. Sadly though, after that goal, I mean, for the rest of that half, it was, you talk about one-way traffic. I mean, Man United must have had a stupid amount of possession that first half. Saying that, a lot of it, they weren't really doing much. They're having it sort of around halfway line just into our third. But then as soon as they were getting into that final third, it almost looked like they were just running out of options. You didn't really know what to do with it. Just kind of, they got there, we'd win it back, sort of around our box, we'd clear it, and then they'd come back, and it was, we're doing that on and on again up until I think it was 44th minute. Man United equalised. Talk about on the stroke of half time. In all fairness to him, it was very well worked down that left hand side. Fred, of all people, who had a shocker. We'll get on to his first half performance, but yeah, so he does well down that left hand side, pulls it back to Bruno Fernandes, and all he had to do was get it on target. It's about maybe 5 feet in front of Ramsdale, who did manage to get a hand to it, to be fair, but I mean, he had so much power and it was so close that really there was no what he could do about it. No one could have stopped that from going in. It was just, it's one of them goals where it's frustrating because you think maybe you could have stopped it and build up, but once they connect to it, you can't really do anything for him, unfortunately. But now let's discuss Fred. It's one of the worst halves of football I think I've ever seen from a football player. I mean, he lost possession about 5 times with some bad passes, more than a few fouls in there. He's lucky. I don't know how he didn't get booked in that first half. Genuinely, it's an absolute mystery. There was one foul he did right on the edge of their box. Terrible free kick. It sort of about 40th, 35th minute. Dreadful. Just a foul. There was no need for it. Odegaard and Partey stepped over it. And I'm pretty sure that was a free kick where Odegaard dummied it. Partey just smacks it, trying to bend it around our players who were kind of obstructing their wall a little bit. And it just twats Aubameyang. So I don't know if Aubameyang didn't get the message for what was going to happen, but Jesus, he didn't even try and move out of the way. He just hit him and he was like, yeah, my bad. Just a bit frustrating, but it is what it is. And obviously we went into that second half 1-1. It did seem like it was a lot to play for, to be fair. Obviously, Man United having most of the ball, but they didn't really have an end product. So it's one of the things that, if they're not doing anything with it, then let them have it. It's not going to really come to us. So going into that second half, no real changes for either team. First chance falls to us. Once again, it's an Arsenal corner. Gabriel, I think he's unlucky not to get a better connection. I think kind of misjudges a little bit. Sort of makes a half connection with his back more than his head. De Gea, if you've not seen this save, I recommend going to try and find it. De Gea pulls off a wicked save to keep it 1-1. Don't know how, it's one of them saves you see and you just think, wow, fair play. Reactions are on point. Then a few minutes later, it's literally, when we talk about back and forth, I think it was about maybe a minute and a half. Ronaldo's beaming through onto our back line. Beautiful chop back. Just Partey gets sent to shop. It's one of them when you go, oh, when you see how Partey got sat down. So then Ronaldo's not quite 1-on-1. He's sort of by the byline. Fires a shot on goal, but Ramsdale's already come a good couple of yards off his line. Closed angle, Menachem big, and got a save for it. But I mean, talk about exciting first half. And then United pretty much fell straight back into what they were doing most of the first half, really. Game carried on pretty back and forth, United having lion's share of possession. Then Rashford, I don't know what went wrong, but he's found himself in an absolute world of space down that right hand side. Cuts it back to Ronaldo. He's just waiting in the middle of the box for a ball to come in. Obviously, as you'd expect, Ronaldo smashes in his 800th career goal just to mark it an even bigger occasion at that point. It's United 2-1, and at this point, I did think, to be honest, it might be the end of the night for us. It didn't really feel like we were getting a foothold into the game. We were getting a couple of counter attacks, but sort of never really penetrating their box that well or getting any shots on target. And I did worry at that point it might have been head starting to drop, and it turns into a bit of us just getting battered for another 45. Thankfully, it didn't. And I mean, it was 2 minutes 45 seconds later. Martinelli, it's similar to how Rashford did for their goal just before. He's got a bag of spaced out right, pulls it back to Odegaard, who, in fairness, he really don't make a good connection with this. He sort of shins and bobbles it across the line. But, it counts. It's in back in there. It's 2-2. No one's complaining. Actually, a really good move by Arsenal. Moved the ball well. A lot quicker than they'd been doing for the rest of the game, which, like I was saying before, I think that's potentially how we could have got it. A lot of the time, we'd either make a run forward. People like Tomiyasu, they make a brilliant run with the ball. And then instead of trying to whip an early ball in or just try and fire something across, they just stop and stand and wait for other people to come up. And I think similar to how we did here, if we'd just played on that front foot a little bit more and trying to take the game to them instead of waiting for players to get in positions, and it might have been a different story, but all in all, I think we were pretty much outclassed for most of it, sadly, tonight. But, even more drama then. God, this is terrible. This is obviously what lost us the game for Man United's third goal. Fred gets ball passed into him just on the edge of the box. He's running into our box now. Must admit, I didn't think there. When I was watching it, I didn't think that's someone step in and make a tackle. It didn't seem like it were going to really develop into much. They didn't have that many players forward. For some reason, Odegaard absolutely clattered him. The ref initially, to be fair, did say no pen, get up, Fred. You're chatting shit. Though, even at the time, I thought, oh, bollocks, that's definitely a pen when I saw it in real time. I'm not sure if Odegaard slipped and just sort of scissored Fred's back leg. I'd assume so. There was no real reason to make that tackle. Obviously, VAR then told, ref, you out and take a look at that, mate. Potential pen. And obviously, ref pulled it back once he'd seen what actually happened. Give him the pen, and who's going to step up? Obviously, it's Ronaldo. Must admit, I thought there was a slight hope that our saviour, Aaron Ramsdale, might get something on it and try and manage to save it. Sadly, he didn't, but we can't blame Aaron Ramsdale for that. I don't know what Odegaard's thinking. He must have slipped, unless he's misjudged it massively. I mean, it's an error which came under very little pressure. Weren't in a dangerous position, just inside edge of 18-yard box, and he didn't really had that many options. We were fairly marked up on everyone else in box. So it was just a stupid error to concede, and it's disappointing that's the way. Obviously, we ended up losing that game. I think if it weren't for that, we might have been able to keep going, maybe get something from the match. But it is what it is, and that really were a head dropper. But after that, to be honest, I think that was about 60th minute-ish. After that, the game had nothing else to offer. Both teams had sort of half chances here and there, but very little actually happened. Obviously, Manchester United managed to see it out 3-2. Bit of shit out from them towards the end of the game. You talk about time wasting. Fans were involved. Harry Maguire were involved, taking a free kick which he ended up not taking. Keeper involved. I mean, God, they must have whittled down about 3.5, 4 minutes out of that extra time. I mean, it's impressive to an extent. I mean, fair play to him. You can't be mad at it because it's what you want your team to do in that situation, but it's just frustrating, isn't it? But all in all, it's even more frustrating because we weren't a bad performance. Like, we didn't actually play badly. We were sort of a product of our own mistake tonight. I don't think we really played well enough to deserve a win, but I think a draw, both teams would have probably thought, yeah, it's about fair, really. But when you've got Odegaard making a mistake like that, you can't really be angry at a loss, really. I mean, we deserve to lose it for that. It's just maybe poor discipline, you'd have to say, but yeah, it's a frustrating one to take. We really should be doing better in a game like that, especially when you've got to think that fourth spot. Start of the season, it would have been blasphemy to put us up there, but you'd have to think after recent performances and finding where we are in league, maybe it was a possibility. But after tonight, thankfully West Ham did drop points, so it leaves us a little bit of hope. But this were a game we needed to win to really step up that one. Obviously, Manchester United is still the team that most people think will finish in fourth, either them or West Ham. And it's a big drop of points for us tonight against them, unfortunately. But yeah, that's how the game went, unfortunately. Hopefully, on to the next one, see if we can bounce back. To be fair, we did bounce back against Liverpool pretty well, managed to get, obviously, the win after against Newcastle. So hopefully, yeah, we'll do it again. I think it's Crystal Palace next, which, oh God, we all know how that went last time. I think it was 2-2, weren't it? Patrick Vieira. Oh, no, sorry, actually. No, it's. I don't know why I've got Crystal Palace in my head. It's Everton. I've got honestly no idea. I really do think it were. Unless that Palace game's been moved. I really swear it were. Oh well, it's what it is, never mind. But yeah, we'll go into that next one. Hopefully, high hopes, manage to get something from it. But let me know what you think of the game. In terms of a man of the match, God, you have to say Ronaldo. He's got a brace. I mean, for our side of things, probably Smith Rowe looked most lively. Actually, Martinelli. It's difficult because obviously he didn't get a goal. Did get an assist though. Yeah, I think I'd go probably Martinelli for us, but overall man of the match. When someone gets a brace and the 800th and 801st league goal, well, career goal, then I think you've got to get him, really, aren't you, unfortunately? So yeah, cheers everyone. If you have enjoyed, obviously, chuck us a subscribe, chuck us a follow, and on to the next one.